What's up, people? So today we're going to show you how to make a concrete hearth out of rapid set mortar mix. Quick, easy, simple. Be done in a day if you wanted to. Come on. Alright, so here would be where we're going to put our hearth. I'm kind of filming this before I even get close to getting finished so that I can get this made, let it set up while we finish tiling here. First step we're going to want to do is get this nice and level. So I'm going to have 3 pieces, one for the front and one on each side. This will be custom, just however your hearth is, if it's one piece, if it's wrapped around, however you want to do it. So I'm measuring for my pieces here to get them nice and straight. I got a line right there. And then I'm measuring the length. So that side right there is 24 inches long. That's 16 inches deep. And this right here is just a little bit less than 24 inches long. So what we will also want to do is we want to have a little bit of overhang. So about 1.5 inches or so overhang on each side all the way around. Now the key here is that your overhang, I would like for the overhang to be 1.5 inches past where the bricks would stop. So I'm going to make this about 2 inches longer on each side. Just more aesthetically pleasing and gives it a deeper feel, and it's more area to sit on. Alright, so out in the garage where we're going to do our mold forming, as you can see I have my rapid set mortar mix on the right of the screen. That's the good stuff we'll use, is rapid set mortar mix, but we'll get to that later. Alright, so we will be making molds to hold these this concrete in to where it doesn't seep out and to where it holds its form. This is melanonin board? You know what I'm talking about. So it's basically a plywood with a nice soft slick white kind of coat over it. And that makes it to where the concrete will not stick to the board. So we are going to make these forms here now versus how deep we have it and how wide and how big we want our form to be. So you can see I cut this top piece here, cut it wider, and then double check whenever you come in here and dry fit it to make sure it's where you want. You can always cut back less as opposed to cutting more. Now I cut this with my circular saw. And here I'm just kind of I have one side longer, so I'm going to draw where I want it to end on this one side. So now I will only have that side to cut, and then it should be perfect. So now we got that first piece cut. Now we're going to do the other 2. As you can see, I'm measuring from the wall, measuring from the board I've already cut. It's about 14 inches total right there with the overhang. Bring that in here, dry fit it. It looks good. This little gap right here between the 2 will be able to seal off pretty good. I can kind of put my brick on there to make sure that it covers. There's no gaps there, and all looks well. Next up, we will build the sides of the mold. So this is going to be about 1.5 inches thick. This plywood is 3/4 inches thick. So 1.5 inches plus 3/4, 2.25 inches is what you're going to want to make these cuts. Make them just as long and as deep as whatever the board is. If it's 14 inches wide, 14-inch long board, 2.25 inches tall. We will now screw it in to each side, like so, and then we will seal all the little where they meet up, where they butt up, with some caulk. I choose black caulk. Now it needs to be 100% silicone caulk. Anything less, it will stick still. So 100% silicone. We're going to caulk. I use black just so that I can make sure there's no gaps and I can see. Clear, you can't really see. So we go through it with our finger. I use a glove and a little water, dab water on it and run it through it, and it really helps make it smooth. So now our forms are all finished and we are ready to start pouring. Now, first step before we do start pouring is we want to make sure all these are level all around. And then we got a couple buckets, a few buckets here. We have one that has fresh water in it that we can rinse off the drill whenever we're done using it. We have two. I'm gonna pour two at the same time, or two back to back. Have them ready. We have flow control. We're gonna use 1 to 2 of those a pop. We have cement color. I'll get into how bad that sucks here in a second, and not to use it. And then we have a WD-40 that we want to spray these boards with first, and that just helps make sure that they don't stick and that they'll be ready to slide off when we're done. So get everything, all your utensils ready beforehand. Get everything prepped beforehand, because once you start mixing this, it's game on and there ain't a lot of time to be thinking about it. So we're going to have everything ready to go. Chop, chop. So we're going to start out spraying with the WD-40. Just spray it with the actual spray, the wide spray, and just spray it all over. And that's all you need to do. You don't have to wipe anything off. Just spray it with the wide spray, not the pinpoint one. Then I'll mix up my color. Again, I wouldn't mess with this color stuff. Didn't work well for me. Maybe somebody else has a better tactic, but it's all right. They all fail sometimes. We still were able to fix it and salvage it. We're getting our flow control packets ready right next to it, because once we start mixing this, we're going to mix that in. We're going to get our water, or how much they say to use on the bags. We're going to toss the bag in. I usually do half, and then I do another half. And kind of go with that. So this first round I made, for this big portion, I made 2 bags at the same time, basically. Dump them in, put in the flow control, and then that will really mix it up like it's not even butter. It mixes it up like it's water. It makes it very runny, and that's how we want it. So 1 of those per bag. Next, I added in the cement color. Now, maybe I did this in the wrong step. Maybe I should have added the cement color earlier. Maybe I should have mixed it better. I don't know. It just did not work for me. And you can see how smooth that is at running. How it just is like thick water, soup, whatever it is. So that's how thick it is, or not how thick, that's how smooth it runs. So it really, that flow control really does a wonder. All right, next batch, flow control in. Let's mix it up, and then we'll mix in our concrete color as well. All right, so once we get it all mixed up, you know what we're gonna do. We are going to pour it, and then we're gonna scrape it. And now on this go round, I'm going to whip out my trowel and start kind of working it in and working it around. See how far I need to get down here. How much more I have to, how big of a bag I need to pour. Probably see if I need to hold another bag or not. And then, you know what? You guessed it. We are going to mix another bag. We're going to put water in there. We're going to dump some rapid set mortar mix in there. We're going to mix it. We're going to put the flow control in there. We're going to mix it. We're going to put the color in there. We're going to mix it. And then we're going to dump it. Rinse and repeat like a broken record, friends. Now, after we get it all mixed and we dump it here, so after that we are going to trowel it. So we get the trowel back out. We are working it into the edges. And that's where I would start, is really start trying to push it into the edges. And it's probably going to look like it's pretty low. Newsflash, it's not. It's kind of deceiving. So we're going to kind of get it as smooth and as straight as we can, or level as we can. Then we're going to get out a board and kind of shimmy it across it. And you'll see that we'll knock some off the top here. And that's really all that this is just this trowel is there to kind of keep it smooth and keep it from bubbling up on us. Alright, so once we get done knocking it off with that 2x4, now we'll just come back over with our trowel And I'm just kind of really trying to get any imperfections out and just kind of smooth it over here. Give it a nice look. This is the bottom, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Just kind of make it a little bit smoother. Next thing we'll do is we'll take a hammer and we're going to tap the sides and the bottom a little bit here. And what this does is it kind of gets any air bubbles out. So it's going to bring these air bubbles up to the surface. You'll see these air bubbles come up. And that's fine. That's good. That's what you want. If not, then it's going to give you little bubbles in the whenever you flip it over and have the top of your concrete slab here. Alrighty, groovy. So now we have gotten a big piece done. These small pieces going to be a cakewalk. So same old steps: water, mortar mix, flow control, color. Then let's pour them. You got to use a little muscle here. Come on, Brian, get it up there. All right, beautiful. So I know that these are going to be about probably one bag worth, so I'm kind of going between these two little slabs to kind of make sure I don't go overboard on one, because it kind of worked out just perfectly that I used all the bags. So once we pour that, scrape it off with the trowel, get it nice and smooth and leveled, then we're going to tap it on the sides again, just like before. Your next step that you're going to want to do here is basically the final step, is that we're going to want to cure it. So you're going to get a water bottle and you're going to see these slabs start drying out and changing colors. Well, for about the first hour after you pour these, you're going to want to spray them to keep them nice and wet to help them cure. All right, let's flip these babies over and see what they look like. Come on now. It's all snug as a bug. Be careful flipping them over. And this is after just about, I think I waited overnight to flip these over, but these should be ready to flip over within a couple hours after you're done. It's just a matter of if you're in a rush or not. I was not in a rush, so I took my time and came back the next day just to be sure. Alright, so here you can see what I'm talking about with the coloring. Did not like that. Look at that. The color did not go throughout like I hoped it would. I even went and got some this concrete sealer here, thinking that it would help kind of bring it out. It didn't do the job. It made them a little bit shinier. It didn't do anything good. I ended up eventually getting a paint stain, concrete stain I mean, and just went over with that. Now, this would not make it food grade if I wanted to do these for my kitchen countertops, but for my fireplace, I was completely fine with it. So I will show you a picture here in a second of the actual concrete sealer I did use to get a nice dark gray color. But this is the process I used, painted it on, same way. I just didn't use this as a final product. I did this, then had to use the sealer. So we'll show that here. So here's a concrete sealer. It's a solid color from Valspar, and the color is Ember, and it is a winner chicken dinner, baby. So here you go. We're just gonna put it on with a regular brush. I wear gloves to protect the hands. Common sense. That's kind of what you can see. You can tell the coverage that this is given was so much better. We did sand these other ones to get that other coat off first, though. So you can see it covers well. The shine will dissipate and it will become a dull and beautiful, as you will see in the final product here. All right, so after we stained it, and we bring it in here, so we had 3 pieces, boom. We used wood shims if we needed to. I used help for this long piece, but anyway, so we bring them in here, shim them to where they're nice and level, get a level out. And that's what the finish of that concrete sealer, that Ember color is. This is just clear caulk, just clear silicone caulk. You can't even tell it's there really. That won't change the color of anything. No reason to get a colored caulk. So that's how we do that. I mean, just probably 120, 150 and we got all this area with nice seating. So looks great, looks classy. Thanks for watching. We got how to do the tile and how to do the mantle coming up.